political establishment wants that we've lost what the people want. And that's what we're about.
It's to answer two tough questions.
So this is FAQ NYC Paperboy interview.
I had my guesses as to why for those who did not. But you're the ones who stepped up shortly. Before we get to that, we also wanted to have on one candidate we had not today, Paperboy Prince. So he called us from a food distribution event. He was running in Brooklyn. Let's jump right in.
Okay. Paperboy, you there?
Paper, yeah. It's our time.
Okay, great. Hold on, I'll get started. Welcome to
Paper, yeah.
Today we have
it's our time
for our tight 10 minutes of the mayoral candidates. Welcome, Paperboy, Love Prince, to FAQ NYC.
Thank you so much for having me, Christina, Harry, everyone. Thank you.
Absolutely. So you're running for mayor of New York City. You want to be the 110th mayor. It doesn't look like you're going to win, so why are you running? And tell us what sort of are your main issues that you want to get across. Are you an issue candidate, or are you really actually in this thing to win it?
Well, first off, Christina, that's a bold assumption. I'd like for you to hear why you think I wouldn't win, because you're saying that I wouldn't win, even though out of the candidates, just last year, I got more votes in this city than most of the candidates. Andrew Yang, who ran for president. Citywide, a person named Paperboy Love Prince got more votes than him. Diane Morales, Catherine Garcia, Sean Duncan, should I go on? I've gotten more votes than all of them. I'd like to see them do better in a congressional primary in New York City than Paperboy Love Prince. So for me, when you say that it doesn't look like I'm going to win, it sounds like you might be in Massachusetts or Nevada or, I don't know, Bora Bora, but definitely not in New York City, because if you're walking around the streets of New York City, if you're talking to voters, if you're talking to seniors, if you're talking to Latinos, if you're talking to queer folks, if you're talking to black, they're super excited about this campaign. That's the only way that we got this far, because the city is so passionate about something new. They're tired of the same old establishment politicians, and then these outsiders that look more and more like establishment politicians every day. So I think that we're going to do a lot better than a lot of folks are saying, a lot of folks that are ready to write us off because they have been so disconnected from what the people actually want. We've been so indoctrinated into what the political establishment wants that we've lost what the people want, and that's what we're about.
True that. So have you turned down invitations to the debates, or have you not been invited?
So I went to the last debate. Outside of it, I performed and spoke a lot of our platform, and we were right there. I believe we were on the Upper West Side, and folks were like, yo, you should be in there. The Upper West Side voters like, oh my goodness, Paperboy's in my neighborhood, but is it my birthday? You know, they were excited to see it. So when you talk about the debates, I'm glad you mentioned that. And the hypocrisy in the debates, especially a lot of the progressive candidates. I can name all their names, but this isn't free ad space for them. All of these progressive candidates that claim to be progressives are the same ones that are upholding a system that keeps money in politics. What is your incentive to not be a corrupt politician when to get in the debates you have to hit a threshold of $250,000 in a short window, and that $250,000 has to be raised in a way that you get $2 million. So because of the CFB requirements, you're saying that folks are saying, oh, people being viable because they're not a millionaire or billionaire. I'm the only non-millionaire and non-billionaire, non-backed by them, that's actually running for mayor and coming this far. A lot of the people that I talked to, a lot of the other candidates that I thought weren't millionaires, 5 minutes into the conversation, they can't wait to tell me they're a millionaire. So for me, I wear that as a badge of honor, that I'm more in line with most New Yorkers than the elite that seek to lead us and, you know,
the elite
do what their corporate overlords want us to do instead of what the people want.
So you're 28 years old. Have you ever voted in New York City?
Yes, I have. I've voted, and I've encouraged others to vote. I've actually led massive voter registration campaigns where I've used my rap.
He ran for Congress
to actually get a lot of folks registered to vote and inform them on the process. A lot of folks who were so quick to click independent and green on their voter registration forms, I let them know, hey, we live in New York City, which is a one-party city. We only have the Democratic Party. So if you want your vote to count, register as a Democrat. I'm not saying they're good. In fact, I'm saying they're bad. So hop in and register to vote as a Democrat. So yes, I vote here. I'm also a member of the Kings County Committee, Democratic County Committee, and so I represent my block
What's
here.
Up with these
and
questions?
I've also
I'm hoping these questions get better.
Folks to run for office with me during my mayoral run, where I've been teaching folks how to run for office. I've had folks run for judicial delegate as well. We even put John Oliver on the ballot as kind of like a way to even draw attention to our efforts to get folks on there. So yes, I voted in all parts of this process.
Paperboy, as we're talking to you now, you're at a food distribution event, I believe. Can you tell us a bit about your work there and how that's been going in the midst of running for mayor?
Yeah, so when the pandemic hit last year, I was actually already running for Congress. And, folks knew how connected I was to the community. So a lot of business owners started offering their surplus food. They even started offering their office spaces and their spaces to us. So I got donated spaces and food. And, okay, now how do we get to work and serve the community? So over the last year, I've been able to give out millions of dollars worth of food. And in my space, which I started here in September, we have given away over $2.5 million of, free food to our community. We currently have a line outside as we speak. Our truck is running a little behind today. But, yeah, so that's been an awesome project that I've been a part of and worked with a lot of community members. We're about mutual aid. So I also take part in the food that we give away. I get it because for me, it's not just about charity and I'm so great. It's about let's work together. So, and then we just also launched on my platform is Housing for All. And so we launched a new house called Tiny House NYC. I just built my first home, a tiny home that's emergency housing, free emergency housing, 24/7, that folks can, rent out here, no questions asked. It's completely solar powered. And yeah, it was built by the Queen's design team in collaboration with myself and the paperboyprince.com Love Gallery. So we're doing things right now with the resources we have to address the problems that we see in the community and, build awareness and raise awareness about these issues.
So that sounds great. Your campaign manager is...
And one thing, sorry, it was one thing I thought of too, about raising awareness. Even here at the Love Gallery, we did a pie in the face kind of event with Catherine Garcia, another candidate for mayor, who you would say before we did this event, it was not looking like like she's going to be the one or anything like that. And then after it, a lot of great things happened for her and her campaign. Donations went up. The New York Times endorsement. In fact, the New York Times, in an article that they wrote about her just yesterday, in the first paragraph, it said, that Paperboy Prince event was a turning point in her campaign. That's in the first paragraph of that New York Times profile. Now, obviously, I'm not taking credit for the work that they're doing, and I'm not even endorsing her as a candidate, but to say that, we're using our platform to bring folks together and raise awareness about the issues that are going on, because at the end of the day, it's not about politics, it's about helping people.
Right. So your campaign manager is 13 years old. It looks like you're building or trying to build a pipeline for politics by bringing in these 100 new people to run for office. Part of the critique that a lot of Democrats have is that we're a little stagnant and we keep people around for quite some time and they don't open up the floodgates to have young, new ideas and fresh ideas come in. Let's just say someone else wins the Democratic primary. Would you be willing to work in an administration with one of the candidates? Or what do you see your next steps in New York City if you aren't victorious on June 22nd?
They said that we couldn't do it, but you see we did. Not a daddy, but these politicians my kids. How about the water? I look like a squid. You got us on the ballot. Now we about to win. Ha! Over your head, like some overhead lighting. Giving out hugs and kisses. No, I'm not fighting. I'm spreading love. I don't care if you like it. They see my style, I started biting. Diamonds like lightning, plus I'm enlightened. Sounding fake, it's a script they reciting. What happens next? Suspense is heightened. What me in the cage like kids were biting. I'm eating good, might get the itis. My name in their mouth like gingivitis. It's my time, you think I'm psychic. Moves like a hero, ain't got a sidekick. Paper. Yeah. Christina, I'm ready to spread love. Whatever administration, whatever, I'm ready to spread love. I'm ready to be there, boots on the ground, spread love right here, right now. So I'm down to work with anyone and everyone, and that's something that I've been critiqued for. Right now, people are like, oh, why are you hanging out with Andrew Yang? Why you got a picture smiling with Eric Adams? Why are you doing it? I'm like, we got to find ways to work with people. You know, there's so many people in my community who don't have a chance to even have their voice heard, who are in a NYCHA building without a sink, without a bathtub, who are in a school without the adequate books and technology they need. So for me, I have to be doing everything in my power to get as close as I can to the folks that are in the conversation and then hold them accountable for what they're supposed to be doing.
Paperboy, 2 more quick questions, and thank you again for taking the time. First off, opposition file research. You put out a whole Washington Wizards-oriented mixtape. Who would you represent for as mayor?
What basketball team you're asking?
Correct.
You know, I always grew up a Knicks fan, and my uncle used to make fun of me because he's like, man, you don't want to be a loser. You can't root for the Knicks. You go. I'm like, you're a Steelers fan. What are you talking about? But you know, for me, I don't know if you've seen me on the court. I actually played a basketball game against Andrew Yang, beat him very bad. Every time I see him, he's like, yo, thank you for taking it easy on me. So for me, I'm ready to suit up and play. Like, you know, depending on how this mayoral run works out, you might see me out there for the Knicks. You might see me out for the Nets. Like, there have been conversations and talks about that. So just stay tuned.
Last thing here. What's your read on the situation happening right now in Washington Square Park with parties and celebrations there, and then the Post reporting on this, and suddenly the police coming in force with the curfew and shutting things down and then stopping and all of that? And how would you handle such things if you were mayor and in control of the NYPD?
Listen, you know, I used to live in Spain. I lived in Almeria, Spain at this point. And when I was there, they used to block off the square, like the town kind of like square, whenever the soccer team had a game. I'm not the biggest soccer fan. I used to play, but they would block off because they knew everybody was going to get drunk and everybody was going to have a good time. And, you know, let's just block it off because everybody wants to party, so it's the soccer team. It was common sense governing. Same thing should happen here. You know, people have been locked up in their homes, quite literally, per government order, state, federal, and city, for the last year, and it's still going on. So folks need a good outlet. They need outdoor spaces. You know, indoor spaces, a lot of folks still don't feel comfortable, you know, in large crowds. So we need to transform our outdoor spaces into a post-COVID fun center, a place where people can actually come and have fun, where they can release. They're so ready to show their new outfit. They're so ready to see their old friends, to talk to their neighbors, to just see the sun in this park, to see the moon in the park. So for me, how I would handle it is make it easier for folks to have these celebrations. You know, encourage it. Bring artists that are there. Allow there to be food there. Allow there to be vaccine resources there. You know, there's so many ways where we can turn this into a win for the city. We can have a donation bucket there, so we can use that as a way to keep the park clean for the next day so that it's not dirty. Yo, everybody, if you party in here, leave a $1 donation. At the end of it, we have a couple $1,000, and that can be used to help clean up the park or go to that fund. We have to start thinking outside of the box instead of being married to policing people and to, you know, telling folks what to do. So for me, you know, the fun is literally the driving force of this campaign. We started out saying, Paperboy, 2021, everybody, having some fun, Paperboy. 2021, everybody, having some funds, and that's the double entendre. It's about you're having fun, but then I also want you to have funds. I want to fund the people. We want a basic income. We want people to have what they need. So for me, that's how we would do it, and that's how we're doing it. I was just in Washington Square Park, and I know Christina is pretty keen on me not winning, but
I didn't say that. I'm just saying you weren't at any debates. You're not in the polling,
Right.
and so let's
Right.
just
No,
look at
but
the realities of where we are.
But that's
I'm not keen
incorrect.
on anyone winning or not
But that's-
winning.
But that's just incorrect reporting because I am in polling and I was at the debates. Now, I wasn't on TV screen, but I was outside of the debate, okay?
Yeah,
And,
as were hundreds of New Yorkers.
And, you know, as far as winning, I am on the ballot. So the part that's actually decided by the people, right, I was nominated by close to 10,000 New Yorkers to be on the ballot for mayor of New York. Not just New Yorkers, Democratic voters, right? So the part that's decided by them is good. Now, the part that's decided by the millionaires, billionaires, corporate elite, corporate media, nah, they don't like me because I'm fighting back against them and I'm taking the city for the people. So, yeah, like, as far as that, no. But what I was saying originally is when I was walking through Washington Square Park, Christina, you wouldn't know I wasn't at the debate. You wouldn't know I'm not at the top of the polls. You know, walking through Washington Square Park, you would think I'm already the mayor. I'm not. I wish I was lying. We pull up our love tank. Everybody's showing love, saying, yo, I'm voting for you. I'm so excited. We walk through the park. Everybody like, this is the change that we need. You're inspiring me. Like, I feel like I can do it. I'm looking more into local politics. I have people telling me I've never been excited about a local politician ever. There's no reason for me to. And now you're providing that pathway. So I'm super excited.
You know, Paperboy Love, I'm so glad that we at FAQ can give you this opportunity to actually talk about your platform, and we wish you the best of luck on June 22nd. Because I do think that there is room and a necessity for diverse voices in politics, and especially for people to create a pipeline for new politicians and young people to get involved in politics. So we appreciate you coming on FAQ NYC.
Thank you.
And Christina, and I thank you, and I'm so glad to give you this opportunity too to talk to, you know, one of the premier leaders in this city and actually be able to spread love and do this on a platform and you know, bring the city into the future and kind of think outside of the box. Like, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to give you this opportunity. I'm so happy to have this opportunity, and I don't take it lightly. You know, I take this very seriously. Every point of this matters. You know, you all matter. You all are so important, and I love you all so much. Like, before I go, I do want to let folks know just what we're about because we talked about some other things. But for me, the number one thing is spreading love, you know, and sometimes that means tough love, but it's always that real, true love. Our platform, basic income, spreading love through love centers, actual places where we'll bring people together, healthcare for all, housing for all. That basic income is $2,000 a month, by the way. Futuristic schools, no more top-down education, futuristic schools, reparations for the war on drugs, a greener New York, and Wi-Fi for all. So many things. I'm happy to be here. I love you all. Listen, we're going to change the city, and I'd love to talk to you once I'm mayor as well and say, I told you so.
Hey, whichever way this ends up, we'll talk. Paperboy Prince, Paperboy Love Prince. Thank you again for joining us, taking the time. We appreciate it.
Paper, yeah.
Alex, so you're right by Washington Square Park. You saw the Post story about how the bad old days are back, and it's a hellhole there. And then, I don't know, roughly 100 million police show up to close the park by force and restore order. What's happening?
So, I mean, I've lived near Washington Square Park since my family moved from Brooklyn at about 14. And this is a common occurrence. The park gets lively. Police create like an intense presence. The